As you probably know, many meat processing plants around America have been forced to shut down after their facilities turned into COVID-19 hotspots. And if they can't process the meat, well, then you can't eat the meat.
Grocery giants are putting a cap on how much meat customers can buy as the pandemic forces more processing plants to shut down. And at hundreds of Wendy's restaurants, managers are asking that famous question from a Wendy's ad campaign: where's the beef?
Try ordering your favorite Wendy's burger this week and you may be disappointed. Some of our menu items may be temporarily limited, the company acknowledged today. At one drive-through window, you could get an apology but no triple cheeseburger.
Yeah, America's beef shortage has gotten so bad that fast food places are even running out of burgers. And I feel bad for Wendy's, because not only are they running out of meat, but Wendy even had to trim her own bangs in quarantine. We've all been there, girl. Now, obviously, this is bad for meat lovers, but it's also bad for vegans. Yeah, because if everyone is forced to become a vegan, then the original vegans will have no one to look down on. I'm actually a vegan. Yeah, buddy, we're all vegans now. But if you do love meat, don't be stressed. Because remember, as long as there's sawdust and pig's butts, you'll always have hot dogs. Hot dogs. Never think too hard about them. Moving on. Remember all those stories about healthcare workers and how they're struggling to get enough protective equipment? Well, now we might know who's partly to blame. Jared Kushner, presidential advisor and man in a love triangle with his own father-in-law.
A whistleblower complaint sent to Congress anonymously claims that FEMA relied on inexperienced volunteers to find protective equipment as the virus spread, arguing vendors were selected based on personal relationships, not expertise. That effort was led by Donald Trump's son-in-law and senior advisor Jared Kushner.
According to the Washington Post, Jared Kushner relied on 24 volunteers from consulting and private equity firms who had little expertise in the tasks they were assigned. The New York Times reports many of the volunteers were told to prioritize tips from political allies and associates of President Trump, tracked on a spreadsheet called VIP Update.
Yes, it seems Jared Kushner fumbled the PPE response by bringing in people whose priority was pleasing Trump VIPs, including a buddy from Mar-a-Lago, a former Apprentice contestant, and Fox News host Jeanine Pirro. And sadly, this isn't a surprise, because since Trump became president, the White House has started operating like a nightclub. You need connections or money to get in, everyone's talking way too loud, and there's a lady who's spending the whole time trying to avoid some creepy guy. And if you are going to get help from a TV personality to search for coronavirus equipment, it shouldn't be someone from Fox. It should be Maury. Yeah, because at least he's experienced with testing. Coronavirus, you are not the father. And finally, some strange non-corona news coming out of Venezuela.
This morning, President Trump says the United States had nothing to do with an alleged coup on Venezuela. This video that you're seeing shows 2 American mercenaries who were arrested there on Monday. President Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela claims that the men were sent to that country to assassinate him. Both are former U.S. Special Forces soldiers with ties to a Florida-based security company named Silvercorp. Silvercorp's CEO admitted that he was leading a mission to infiltrate Venezuela and capture President Maduro.
What we've learned publicly thus far about this operation is it appears to be somewhat of a clown show, and not of the caliber one would expect if it were a operation that had been arranged by our intelligence community.
Okay, I know this sounds like the sequel to Tiger King, but it's actually true. Here's what happened. As far as we know, American mercenaries, just a group of random guys who may have worked as security guards at Donald Trump rallies, put together a small team of people which they thought was going to be enough to take down the entire Venezuelan government. And one reason the operation didn't work out is that the security company tweeted about the operation while it was underway. And I don't know what's more embarrassing, the fact that they live tweeted their coup, or that the coup attempt only got like 6 likes. Ouch. And you know this whole story? This whole story just makes me wish that social media existed in the past, because it probably would have stopped a lot of bad things from happening. Like Abraham Lincoln would have been like, honey, this John Wilkes Booth guy keeps tweeting me the gun emoji, skull emoji, and the top hat emoji. I think we should just stay home and watch Netflix tonight. Oh, come now, Abraham. One night at the theater's not gonna kill you.